Welcome to the Shuman Show. Who am I here with?
Who Conor is. I have effectively dubbed myself a movement education specialist. What I do is I get people out of pain, what I call postural modification, and general athletic preparation. And that evolved into a much higher level coaching program that ended up spilling over into everything from careers to relationships to occupational therapy, psychotherapy, financial coaching, through the same principles that I'm educating bodies. So what I've now transferred that question into is Conor Milstein, founder of ISO Movement Systems, and I teach universal principles so that you can move and exist without pain, without fear. That's what it's become, tagline-wise. I originally went to school, to Gettysburg College, to play D3 football and study. I think my major was computer science at the time.
Wow,
which was,
computer science.
Interesting enough, right? That switched a couple times. Gettysburg didn't work out. I was up out of there extremely quickly. I was in a bad way at that point, making poor decisions. By the book, healthy, but by no means was I actually healthy.
I remember my college healthy.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a mess.
Yeah.
I left football a week or two into it. I didn't even finish camp. I was like, I can't. This isn't for me. My family, no one was very experienced in college. I don't know if any of them had ever gone to college, actually. So I didn't even know transferring was a thing. Like I didn't know that you could do that. I was like, I got a scholarship to here, and this is cool. That's good. I'll get a degree, and so on and so forth. I didn't know. So I toughed it out that whole freshman year. And
that must have been a nice realization when you figured out you could transfer.
Well, yeah, my ex-girlfriend at the time she's like, hey, you can leave. I was like, what? Yeah, because I was just leaving anyway and going down to New Orleans where she was. She was at Tulane. And I would just hang out down there in their dorms. It was funny.
Fun school.
Yes, great time.
Yep.
And she helped me out, did my transfer applications for me, thank God. And it came down to Temple which is in Philly, for those of you not from the Northeast. That's in Philadelphia. And Loyola, which is the school neighboring Tulane in New Orleans. And I was like, okay, don't want to stay in Philly, so we're out of here. Here we go. At that point, I was no longer playing football, and it was time to really figure out who I was outside of that identity.
Yeah.
And then, of course, with my lack of health, God knows what I looked like, and couldn't make a smart decision to save my life, my ex was like, yeah, we're done. I was like, that's very fair. I completely understand that. All right.
She got you a transfer, though. That's a big plus.
Exactly. I was like, I'll take that. Yeah, so I started learning aggressively at that point. Right, I was no longer an athlete or able to call myself anything close to that with how I was looking and moving and so on and so forth. And then I started to eat school alive. I was like, okay, I'm going to learn everything I can as aggressively as I can and see if I can at least prove to myself that this was a good decision to give up a scholarship, to leave home, to go figure out a path for myself.
Yeah.
And I was learning. So I got 2 bachelor's degrees, one in finance, one in just basic general business management. And then I went to grad school and got an MBA. And I knocked all that out in like 4 years.
You got an MBA also?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. I just ate school alive. That's where I met Anya, my now wife and baby mama, I guess. It's baby mama. And on the side, I was training. I was training just for a couple bucks, to go have drinks and pay some light bill, buy coffees, whatever it was. And when I got down there, the last time I looked at a scale, I was 267. I was 267 on the scale at 5'10". So that's not a good number. Wow. Not a great number. And
were you still training at that point, doing kind of the bodybuilding?
Yeah. I did what I knew how to do, which by that point was between sport-specific training, yoga, basic recovery, and heavy lifting. I did bodybuilding routines as well as what was then popular, which was sports strength, effectively.
Yeah.
What you see done in college weight rooms today. So your compound lifts, everything from, there's a program called Bigger, Faster, Stronger. It got really popular. And I ran those and I got huge. I was huge. If you look at the stats on paper that I was moving as, it was good, but the feeling was terrible. By the time I stopped playing, I just remember I could be 15 minutes into a practice. My legs felt like lead. They just felt stuck in mud. I could no longer do like a set of push-ups without some type of pain. Couldn't throw a ball. Couldn't like enjoy a basic football catch with my buddies without my elbow or shoulder hurting. I was so immobile. I was so immobile, like trying to scratch my back was no way. So I had to drop all this weight that was now useless, right? I was like, what am I this strong for? I could move a house if I wanted to, but for what? For what reason? And on top of that, I was having a lot of trouble focusing. I had to now learn to be a student, learn how to learn, basically. And my brain couldn't. I remember trying to read the suggested reading of all the classes. I'm like, I can't do that. I can't even focus for this long. And that is actually why I started changing the diet more than anything. That's where it began. I started making little diet changes that I was like, oh, wow, okay. If I eat a little better, my brain feels sharper. This is cool. This is cool.
What a crazy thing.
Yeah, what a crazy concept. And yeah, I still remember the big aha moment was the first time I made myself eat a tomato, because I never liked tomatoes. But I was like, Conor, everyone that is doing what you would like to be doing eats tomatoes. Just eat the damn tomato. I'll never forget.
It's a good way to get yourself to do something.
I'll never
All the people you look up to are eating tomatoes.
Eat the tomato. That'll be a chapter in the book for sure.
Hell yeah. Can't wait to read that one.
Yeah, so I was learning everything about my body on the side. All right, I was in heavy class load always, and then I started learning about my body on the side, which started with my diet, and then I started to change up how I was training, and was trying pretty much everything under this. No, not yet. Before I was really willing to start experimenting and going way off the rails, I was running a lot to run all that weight off. And I was able to get all that weight off. I dropped 100 pounds. I brought myself all the way down to 167 just to make sure I hit the 100-pound loss mark.
Wow.
I didn't like how I looked at that light, but I wanted to accomplish it and see. It was a weight I hadn't been since I was in 14 years old, probably, maybe less. And when I was going through all those changes, specifically with running, everything was hurting. It started off with something more common, which is IT band syndrome or runner's knee. And so I would go run, and all that it would end in is knee pain and trap tightness, basically. Trap tightness. And it got so bad to a point where I went to the sports med doctors and was like, yo, doc, what's up? What's the deal here? I don't think this should feel like this. And they were like, look, buddy, you've got a lot of wear and tear. You've been doing a lot of things for a long time. You're probably going to be in line for some hip replacement, knee replacement type stuff.
Wow, they were telling you that already?
Yeah.
How old were you?
21.
Wow.
21.
That's a crazy thing to tell a 21-year-old.
I know. So I was like, wait, what? I'm 21. What are you talking about? How could this be the case? And I didn't know any better. So I was like, all right, if I'm headed for surgery anyway, I might as well get nuts with it and start experimenting and figure out what's out there.
Was that the moment that shifted things for you?
Yeah, that was probably the biggest aha moment after the tomato was okay, cool. If I'm gonna be in an old person's body and this is how I have to live, then let's just start trying things and let's see. And that's where the research really, let's say the dam opened up, and I was like, all right, let me just see what's out there. I'm now open to things, because obviously I have a lot of background in this and I'm a know-it-all. So I'm like, okay, I got nothing else to learn. What is there? What else is there? And from that moment on, I was more receptive.
Open to learning new methods. And what did that experimentation process look like? Because I feel like it is hard to experiment into new movements when you're so ingrained in, say, compound lifts and a strength training protocol.
The hardest part is, and I get this question a lot, even to this day, about people losing. There's this inherent fear of losing the results that you've worked for. And that's what kind of sticks with myself and others is, if I stop these lifts, I get weak, or I get small, or,
it's almost like you're getting rid of an identity.
Yes.
It's like a part of you is dying. Like, I remember when I first started doing your movements, it was like I was all into high rocks, and I was like, but am I not going to be a high rocks athlete anymore? And it's like letting go of that identity of yourself, that part of yourself.
Yes. You have to let those pathways die off, basically. And what's funny is you end up finding at the end that pathway and many more are right there in front of you. There was never any actual cutting off. It just feels like that initially because you're taking yourself out of the steps, the process, the pathway that you were on.
Yeah.
So that's where real learning began. I had to figure out how to do it all. I was like, okay, so naturally we all come to this thought of, okay, then we're just going to do it all. We're going to stretch. We're going to do mobility. We're going to do strength. We're going to do cardio. We're going to do yoga. We're going to do it all.
All the things.
Exactly. And at the same time, I'm trying to run all these classes. I had a couple different jobs and businesses going, internships, jobs, so on and so forth at the time, running business, having a social life. And I'm like, okay, this isn't going to work. Have it all method, not going to happen.
Nervous system was a little overloaded.
There's not enough stimulants in the world. I was like, I was like, okay, if I take any more stimulants, I'm gonna die. I can't do this. Yeah,
self-induced heart attack.
Exactly. I was like, okay, this isn't gonna cut it. So then it started the process of thinking where I'm like, okay, what really needs to be done? Like, is there a way to get all of those results? The strength from lifting, the explosiveness from sports training, the flexibility from stretching and yoga, the mobility from isolated exercises, the joy of sports and running. Is there a way to put that all together? And that question right there was really the tip of the iceberg for what you're seeing and practicing today, which if you do it by the book, it will turn all of those results without having to do any one of them on purpose. It's so much more complete of a practice. And I'm sure later in the show today we'll get into why that is.
Yeah.
But we'll keep things focused on that process, because I just had this conversation yesterday, 2 days ago. Everyone loves to bring this up at Thanksgiving to embarrass me. Which is I had when I left New Orleans, I had those 3 degrees, and I had the program that I basically built through my own body, and then was installing into my coaching clients at the time down in New Orleans. And when I went back to the Northeast, I ended up with 2 job descriptions. One was like a nice, pretty leather-bound finance job description that Anya really wanted me to take, and then the other was a handwritten 5-star notebook paper ripped out of the notebook, basically, spit handshake deal to run this guy's gym.
Oh shit!
And I was like, I'm going to the gym, and
followed your heart's calling, man.
Yes,
soul,
exactly. And that turned out to be a fantastic decision. That became the laboratory where I spent 6-7 days a week, 12-14 hours a day, just cooking, building, running the finance and business management modeling side, running the program development, coaching and sales, marketing, etc., and just was able to put together boundless experience in a very short period of time. And that turned into something really, really cool in Philly. It satisfied me, but I knew that there was a lot more out there. And as I look back now, the main parts to highlight of that journey were my background and where that came from, the loss of the identity of football and how important, the girlfriend, my friends, my everything, everything. And then the change for brain function, change in diet for brain function, then the widespread learning, and then the refinement and perfection. And until I reached that stage of refinement and perfection, I was still holding on to all these different pathways and trying to almost force them all to work, just like most of us are unknowingly doing with our bodies when we are stuck in that identity. I could call it high rocks, or the one I get a lot is I'm a runner.
Yeah.
That's a common one.
So almost the power in fully letting go of that identity. You feel like you were still holding on to.
There has to be a surrender. And what we spoke about in the Q&A today was we got deep into the nitty gritty. It was basically a willingness to die, a willingness to give up to something that means so much to you that you're willing to give up what makes you you, at least. So could be a figurative death, but
well, ego death a little bit.
Could be figurative, hopefully, but the point remains is we don't make major shift until we find something that connects with us and we connect with it to a degree where like, okay, I would give it all up for.
It's like fully buying into it. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's buying in at a level, at a cellular level.
Yeah,
that's exactly.
And why do you think that's so important to actually fully buy in?
Because of if you do not, if you fail to, then all four facets that need to shift won't be hit. Physical, in order on the ladder here. Physical, lowest. Mental, emotional, spiritual, or belief system, or religion, or whatever you want to call that. All four of those need to be in alignment for real change to take place. And until that, if you hold on to the opportunity, to the potential for something else, you won't get the full effect of that shift. You'll always be holding on, and unfortunately, that's where your energy ends up going more to than where it needs to.
That makes sense. Are you a fan of Dr. Joe Dispenza's work?
Yes, in words. The reason that I teach this stuff physically is because of literally what I just explained. If you're saying something, but then my eyeballs are seeing something else, then I can't buy into that fully. It's hard for me to say that I agree fully. Now, the words are great. On paper, fantastic. Sometimes I wish I could write things that well. But the truth of the matter is, let me see you run. Let me see you wrestle. Let me see you throw a ball. Can you do it more than 20 times? Can you actually perform the words that you're coaching? Yeah. So until I see that, it's going to be hard for me to say, yes, follow this person. Yeah. I'd rather see someone that can live it physically than be able to explain it in writing. Yeah. That is more valuable to learn from, because if you know something mentally, that's not necessarily going to carry over into other areas as effectively as it could. And the ability to feel something, you can't know something fully until you can feel it. Your brain literally cannot understand it unless it is felt. And
so true.
Otherwise we think it, or we force it.
That's why I never believed in God until I took psychedelics. I couldn't. I physically, until I felt it coursing through my veins and had an experience like that, I was like, oh, God is real.
Exactly.
I felt it. Someone wasn't just telling me about it. I wasn't just reading about it.
Exactly. Which is correct. Like, how are you going to tell someone otherwise? That's exactly how it should be. Yeah. You should be, even yourself, I'll tell anybody, whoever it is listening, being skeptical is very valuable. Yeah. Very valuable. I actually prefer people keep that skepticism so that you learn your own framework through which you can trust and understand and adopt and learn. Otherwise, it's someone else's. Yeah. And I'm not really there for that. I want it to be yours all the time.
That's beautiful, man. Yeah, I was a little skeptical when I first saw ISO, and then once I started doing it, I was like, shit, I think there's something here. And now I'm ready to dive back in.
Yeah, I'm my own. I'm living example of the peak of skepticism coming from my background. I watch results on a daily basis now that are impossible. I watch it with my own eyeballs. And it's still impressive to me. It impresses me to this day what people are coming up with. I told you, even in the group cohort, the only reason I know that it's getting effective is not because I made it. It's because other people are going through something I created and turning out a result on the other side. I'm not even there anymore. They're in freaking Australia. Yeah. I'm not even there. So it's proving itself to me, which is proving old me wrong, which is great.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And what are like the basics and fundamentals of ISO movements? Like, how would you describe it to someone listening right now?
Yes.
Because I've kind of taken the classes and seen it firsthand.
Yes. So go back to the tagline.
Yep.
Universal principles. All right. There are certain characteristics, traits, principles that are present on many levels, if not all levels, at all times in fractal scale. So on really big scale or really tiny scale. Right. So these principles are higher order than we are. They were here before us. They'll be here after us. We are riding those principles to survive.
Almost like universal principles that exist.
Exactly.
We are a part of the universe.
We go to universal principles.
Yeah.
All right. So these principles are present in all biology. All right. And if you don't want to use the word universal, just think about the planet then. All right. That's fair. The same principles that allow for nature to continue to evolve are what I'm teaching and imparting into a human body. We are putting the principles back into your DNA. And when we do that, the response is exactly the same as what you would see if you have a plant in the right environment, in the right soil, at the right time of year, in the right rhythm. It is unbelievably resilient and sustainable, and through the resilience and sustainability can find a way to continue to evolve. So what I'm doing with people's bodies is running them through a process that I've cooked into layers so that it's more scalable. The program makes more sense. It's more scalable for them. It's a stronger scaffold. And in each layer, there are principles, cues, characteristics, and indicators so that you can understand more about what's going on under the hood. If you're operating through these principles, there will be a specific set of outcomes that will show itself in not in any specific order, but they will always show up. And that's how you know what's going on in this very complex thing that we call a body. Not only that, the feeling, literally the feeling of how you exist is different. That is a really important one because you can be healthy, you can be fit, you can be in shape, you can be really strong, you can be really flexible, you can be really fast. But how you feel when you take a seat every day to eat breakfast, that stays the same. We need that to be flipped. We need the feeling that you exist in to always be evolving. And that feeling being the baseline will have different traits: flexibility, speed, strength, so on and so forth. So if we can flip that priority, we make sure that stability and resilience is the heart of what you're doing. The ability to pick up a skill is right there for you. So when we're going through that program, it depends on where somebody wants to go. At this point, at the maturity of the business where it's at now, most people want to take their bodies as far as they can possibly take it.
Yeah.
So they run the whole program.
Yeah.
But it doesn't need to be that way.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I like how you mix the spiritual into it. For me, I take away like Gait is very important. Your gait cycle, walking correctly, running correctly, throwing mechanics.
Yeah. So you want to get into the biology of it?
Yeah, because I think someone could hear that and it's beautiful, but they're like, okay, what does that mean for me?
Yeah, that's a great question. Right? You just put that perfectly. What does that mean for me? What is me? You're a human being on planet Earth. All right. What does a human being do? A human being is built on evolutionary pathways that come from what I call fundamental human movements. Right? We evolved mainly to get away from danger, towards food, and towards reproduction. All right? That's when you cut it all.
Simple.
When you cut it all down, that's what we're making our decisions based on, whether we like it or not.
Yes.
That's our biology. That's what we do. So our ability to do that is another way of saying that's our ability to evolve. So how well we can perform those fundamental human movements is how well we can evolve, how free we are to evolve. And what are those fundamental movements? One, your gait cycle. That is number one. That is the most digestible movement pattern for the human brain.
Mm.
All right, we are bipedal, so we walk on 1 foot at a time, as opposed to, say, my dog, quadrupedal, 2 feet at a time. Then we have the ability to throw, all right, that developed because we at one point needed to hunt. And if we needed to hunt, or not even just to eat, but to survive, we had to learn how to kill things that were much more capable than we are, athletic, fast, strong, massive. And throwing allows us to hurl objects, really hard ones, at very high rates of speed.
Or really sharp ones.
Or really sharp ones at high rates of speed with high degrees of precision. All right, so the human body is effectively a lever for being able to do that. Mm-hmm. But, if you take 10 people off the street and ask them to throw, maybe one hits a target. Yeah. Maybe.
We're not great at throwing.
We're not great at it anymore. And then we connect that all the way to classic modern tech neck posture. Yeah. Right? And it's not really a problem of sitting too much as it is a problem of we can't conduct these fundamental patterns very well. Mm. So we have our gait cycle, we have throwing. Gait cycle, to break that down, running, walking, crawling, anything that involves this oscillation of the spine and hips.
I never thought about crawling as part of the gait cycle. Yeah,
crawling. Other ones would be swimming, and it's called think like monkey from a tree, brachiating. All right, those would be all under the gait cycle portion. Throwing, another thing that looks a lot like swimming. Playing tennis, right? Operating clubs, that takes us to labor. So your basic day-to-day strength, the ability to operate a tool, usually some type of chopping mechanism, some type of hammering mechanism, some type of I need to open this coconut mechanism. And I would all consider under labor. And then finally, the fourth category is fighting. And a lot of people have a different relationship with the word fighting. So sometimes, depending on who I'm talking to, I'll just call it dynamic hip strength, the ability to throw your weight around effectively. Yeah, because we don't necessarily need to be able to fight as much as we do need to be able to throw our weight around and then use the gait cycle to run away. That's the number one means of survival in human biology, period. Get the hell out of there. Mm-hmm. All right, that's
fight or flight, baby.
That's number one right there.
Flying.
Exactly. Number one, smartest move at all times, pretty much in every one of those situations. So those 4 categories are all fundamental to our survival, or at least were at one point in our evolution. And our bodies still understand those 4 mechanics.
When you break it down like that, it makes so much sense to me. I'm like, yeah, of course, that makes total sense. We have evolved through evolution and biology, and we're designed to do certain movement patterns.
Yes. Or you could even think of it, cool way to think of it is those patterns designed us. We were not designed to do them. They molded our evolution.
Our evolution. Yeah, that is a better way of thinking about it.
They molded our evolution, and for the first time in our evolution,
we don't do that.
We don't do that.
Here it is, everyone.
Yeah, exactly. So we end up creating these quote unquote issues, not to belittle anyone's experience on this planet, but things like pattern-based pain, things like anxieties, depressions, personality disorders. These are all things that can surface as a result of a confused biological or nervous system. It doesn't understand the language you're telling it anymore. So it starts to go haywire, and it creates these imbalances, which then in turn create health issues.
Yeah, it makes total sense to me. And I know the importance you put on the spine. How does the spine tie into everything?
So let's have some fun. Let's go through the evolutionary pathway, right?
Let's do it.
Not many people realize that we started off as fish. We were fish in an ocean, and actually
which is crazy to think about.
It's nuts to think about. And then what's even crazier is we only found that fish, I want to say 2004, but I know that's fresh in my head. I think it was 2004 that we found the fish that we actually evolved from. So it was kind of recent. Kind of recent. First fish that came on land. It was called a tiktaalik. And this thing looks like it. They have renderings of it. But
so crazy to think about, like the first thing that like left the water to come on land.
Yeah,
and now every species that's on land.
Isn't that crazy?
That is insane.
Yeah, like imagine it's like flopping
It's
itself
like,
up.
what is this?
I always think about that. Like, there's funny memes. I've watched a lot of nerdy stuff on social media. So there's always funny memes like, imagine the fight this guy had with his wife in order to crawl on land for the first time and risk it all.
We're doing it.
He's like, can I breathe out there? I don't know.
I might die in 6 seconds, but I'm going.
Exactly. And that's just to connect that back to what I was talking about, the identity, the ego deaths, figurative death, literal deaths. We evolved from things that were literally willing to die to take the next step and didn't die.
Yeah.
That's how we got here. And then so we're little fishies, right? Wiggling with our spine. How do we walk?
Yeah.
All right. And then after fish, it was reptiles. After reptiles, it was monkeys. After monkeys, humans. All right. I'm sure there might have been some little offshoots in there, but general understanding of how the spine works. If that is what we came from, that spine function is still what is the primary motor of our movement. Another way to think about this is if we chop off an arm, all right, no problem. You can live. Arm, leg.
Even a leg, yeah, I was going to say.
No problem. All right. Anywhere from hips to head. That's the end of that.
Yeah.
All right. So there's a clear priority in
how we actually protect it,
how we protect it. Exactly.
Yeah. I never thought about it from that perspective.
Exactly. You'll give a limb long before you'll give your spine up, specifically.
Yeah.
Head and face. All right. There's a reason if you walk into oncoming traffic as if it's going to help, you cover your head.
Yeah.
Even though it's a car coming at you. All right. Because if that gets rocked, that's it. So the function of the spine over time, it is the baseline of our bipedal gait. All right. And when you think about a reptile, right, somewhere along the line of that development, they started to climb. That climbing eventually carries into monkey land. Right. And then some crazy monkey at one point was like, I'm going to see if I can get this done on the ground here. And the very light.
Shout out to that monkey.
Shout to that
That's
monkey.
a legendary monkey right there.
Imagine his cohorts.
They're like, what the fuck are you doing? Wait a second, he might be onto something.
And then, because really, it's because they either needed food or to get away from something. All right, and that's it. Those are the only reasons that we take that large of a risk. Because now, when we get to human, we have this upright posture, right? We have this upright stance versus fish, horizontal, reptile, horizontal. Monkey is where it starts to sit up more vertical, and it starts to be more efficient to being on land, right? Crawling is hard. Standing on 2 feet is energetically efficient.
I was going to say, it's got to take a lot more energy to crawl.
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
Right? It's all top heavy.
Yeah.
All right. So it's more efficient to be upright. And we humans really mastered that efficiency, right? Our ability to cool, our ability to sweat, our ability to communicate, our ability to think, our ability to move dynamically. All right. We are kind of a jack of all trades type of species, right? We're master of none, but capable in everything.
Yeah, not great at anything.
Not great at anything, right?
Yeah.
Right. You're not going to race most species and win. You're not going to outswim fish. You're not going to
jump, hang.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You'll lose pretty much in every single trade.
Yeah.
So, but we are adaptable, right? And that all of that adaptability is still based on the same function that comes from our fishy spine. And then if you ever look at, I learned this long before I had a baby, but I did look when I had a baby. If you look at a human, if you ever looked up like embryonic development, how embryos develop?
No,
Oh,
not.
you're in for a trip, buddy.
Yeah.
You've not seen this?
No.
Oh, you're in for a trip. So if you just Google fish embryo versus human embryo,
Yeah.
you can't tell the difference.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
We still
Is that
evolve.
similar?
Yeah, it's the same.
Jeez.
Yeah, we still evolve the same. Isn't that
That's
crazy to think about?
crazy.
It's an age-old process.
Wow.
Nuts.
Speaking of the universal truths, and wow.
Yep, it doesn't change. So, you look at the two and you're like, wow, okay, this is literally the same. And where that split was actually, which was crazy, it was jaw development and the loss of our gills.
That's crazy.
But we start basically with gills.
Wow.
Yep. And then it takes a couple of weeks and then you start to see differences.
Yeah.
So we still literally evolve through that same pathway.
It's just crazy. So when you really started to change your movement, it was going back to evolution. Like that was that the
100%.
wow.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I see what's going on here. If my spine cannot continue to develop along the pathway that it was meant to be on, of course, my shoulder isn't going to be able to participate very well in what I'm asking it to do, which is like bench 400 pounds. Of course, my shoulder's going to be pissed off. Try and throw a football. Right? Can't do these basic things. And almost never do I see the area of issue, unless it's a trauma, like baseball bat to the shoulder. Different story. Pattern-based issues never surface in the area or the root of the issue. It's always a different area that started. And over the years, the majority of the roots came from the hips, the spine, the head. So that's why I started calling that the essential layer.
And that's like the first framework of the ISO movements.
Exactly. And then once you get the hip, spine, and head down, aka I chop all your limbs off and you're a little fish again. Once we get all those parts down, then we start to grow those little arms out. And once we start to get the arms down, then we start to understand how to put it all together from feet to head to hands, whole picture. And that process, by the time people finish that up, they're in a body that they're in a level of athleticism and dynamism they never felt before. Things like pain, they're just like, oh, this magically disappeared all of a sudden.
Signal's not there anymore.
Then the real mind-blowing stuff is when you get to the mental, emotional, and spiritual end of it. The transformation that's required for you to go through to make those physical changes, that's what's worth the price of admission. That's where you make your real money. The peace that you find yourself existing in order to be in that pain-free body, that's adaptable human body that's capable in the fundamental patterns, is worth it all. I would give back every result. I'd gain the weight back. I'd do whatever it was to be able to keep how I feel about myself and towards myself and towards the world through that any day.
That's beautiful, man. Yeah, how we feel is really that's what it is, right? That's the secret sauce right there. How do we feel in our own vessels? So what would you tell someone right now who maybe is in pain or has never trained the spine, has never gone down that path? What are some maybe simple things they could do?
Oh, simple things to start with.
Yeah.
Well, if you're anything like myself, or Drew probably was, and you're going to have a level of skepticism toward this whole conversation. And if that's the case, then I want you to keep that. And I want you to do exactly what you're doing and harder and take it to rock bottom. Go ride it out.
Keep doing the freaking bro splits.
Prove it. Prove it to yourself. Prove it to me. Compete. I'm not going to try and control someone and change them. If you're somebody that's really aware, if this conversation resonates, then you immediately want to begin. You have to start by learning how to utilize your spine to conduct as the primary motor of your movement. You don't have to be a pro runner right away. You don't have to go throw a ball right away. You don't have to do any of the fundamental patterns right away, but you do have to begin putting together the building blocks to be able to conduct those patterns. The really cool thing about the body is you don't actually have to be good at those fundamental patterns. You have to be accessible to them. That's where the result ends up being. Being good at them is another conversation. Being accessible to doing them, that's where the result is.
Got it. I was going to ask, accessible in terms of being able to actually do them.
Yes. Being able to do it pain-free. Yes.
That's the starting point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. You don't even have to get good at it. I will never pressure somebody to be, I'm not here to make you the most fit person in the entire world. Not my goal. Right? My goal is to create an aligned, self-loving person, because an aligned, self-loving person will make good decisions. Good decisions lead to fitness. I don't have to coach someone towards fitness anymore. They do that on their own.
That's the beauty. Training wheels are off.
Training wheels are off.
Let's go.
It's impossible. When you start to change how you feel, decision making becomes so easy. Like take my shoes, for example. Would I love to be wearing some nice, fresh Nikes, some type of collab with some Japanese dude? Yes.
Like I'm wearing right now.
I love shoes. But the simple pressure I would feel in my knee when I'm trying to have this lovely conversation with Drew makes it not worth it. Wow. So I'm like, okay.
So you will never put on non-barefoot?
I can't.
Wow.
I can't, because it just takes away from my experience of life.
Wow.
And it's not worth it. As much as I love them, because everything about me I love fashion, and I love shopping, and I love shoes.
Wow,
specifically.
Bro. That's the next level.
It becomes impossible. It's hard to choose an unhealthy food. It's hard to choose an unhealthy movement pattern. It's hard to choose whatever area of a business decision that doesn't actually serve to improve that alignment or further deepen my relationship with myself, or challenge that evolutionary pathway. If it doesn't do those things, my brain is now trained to recognize that, and it's an easy choice. Easy choice. And you start to see the things that once defined you no longer define you. Like my shoes, for example. Which was a big one. I overlooked that part of the story, I guess.
That's a tough one to let go of for me. I'm like, I like my Nike shoes, man.
I still have them. have them. I try and wear them every once in a while.
Yeah,
I do. I try it, but it never ends up. That's why I was happy that Tolos had sent these ones, because I was like, okay, I can wear these.
Those are sick. Just reference for the audience. Tolos, they make a Converse lookalike. Yeah, that is fresh, I will say.
Yeah. So now and I was doing this, there was no barefoot shoes on the market. Yeah. 8 years ago, whatever it was, there was a company, which was Vivo. Yep. And even the majority of their shoes were butt ugly at that time. Now they make some really cool stuff now.
They do, yeah.
But that was not on the table when I had to give up my,
You were that guy.
I tried not to be, but yeah, I mean, I was like, it was a real challenge. Like, not even joking. It was a big identity shift for me to leave my sneakerheadedness behind. It was I had many conversations with myself of like, look, what's more important to you, basically? What's higher value here? What's really interesting though is that there was no correlation before I was really educated in how to move and moving well. There was no correlation with my shoes and how I felt. I couldn't draw a correlation to it, because you become almost so calloused and connected to the comfortable pathways that you exist in that you could change a pair of shoes and feel nothing. You don't feel any change. But it's almost like the better you get at it, the more responsible you have to be. You get called, it becomes a really clear connection. And I just always come back to that, and it's so interesting how unfair life is like that. So the better you do, the better you have to do. Otherwise, like, take the example of healthy eating. All right, if you eat super healthy every day for 2 years and then you go eat a McDonald's burger, what happens?
You're going to feel it.
But if you eat a McDonald's burger every other day and you eat another one, what's going to happen? Nothing. Exactly. So that always.
The more you level up, the more is called of you. Yeah,
so
I think that's a universal principle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And whenever I see the universal principles start popping up, right into the program. right into the program. That's exact the things that are timeless and proven to the umpteenth degree. That's what I care to teach people. I do not ever install something into someone's body that's not done at every level of nature before our lifetime, during, and after.
So what is the importance of the feet? Because I feel it now after wearing the Nikes that I'm currently in, and their feet are all squished together.
You can feel them?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I have such awareness of my feet now after wearing Vivos. It's like different freaking planet, man. I'm like, oh, these are so squished in here, dude.
The feet, if you are lucky enough to have legs, we have these awesome little antennae that live on the bottom. And they are, not only are they tools for locomotion or the ability to get around, but they're information readers. They're antenna for our brain. They'll tell us if something's sharp, if something's slippery, if something's uneven, if something's where we should be pitching our weight, if we should be careful of how we're stepping.
It's literally our first communication with the physical
interface,
reality.
Exactly, the interface, right? Versus even the hands, which are nowhere near as sensitive. Right, not the bottom at least. And our feet are effectively as the interface, as Drew was just saying, as the interface with the ground. They're really important because we absorb force from the ground in order to be able to posture ourselves and move. Right. So not a lot of people understand this because we put so much emphasis on force production in our workouts. We think of ourselves as the producer of force. We are a borrower of force. So when we touch a stable surface, there's an energy exchange, but not spiritual woo-woo energy exchange. I mean, literal force exchange, physics wise. Yeah. And from that force, we can now have energy running through our circuitry that we are utilizing to move. All right. A really simple example. Have you ever played basketball? Yeah. So what happens if someone pump fakes you and you leave the ground? You're committed in that direction, right? It's really hard to then manipulate your body again once you've committed because you have no more skin, no more surface on the floor. So you can't reabsorb force. That's what makes a lot of the NBA guys such freaks, because you see them doing unbelievable redirection and control in the air. Yeah. That's really tough to do. MJ's famous double clutch, for example.
Mind blowing.
It makes you look like, it's like, oh, they're floating. Yeah. Right? And
there's like a line about that, like defies physics, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, what? How is that possible?
It's basically, imagine being able to have an invisible foot on the floor while you're in the air so you can quickly readjust without having that foot down. So that's why our feet are so important, because that means that when he left the ground, he was in such a strong orientation that he absorbed enough force to get from the free throw line to the basket, and having manipulated it to the point where he could double clutch that ball, double clutch his legs. So if we can't utilize our feet, and if, say, they're in really tight shoes, right? They're all scrunched up. Say we won't even go any deeper than that. They're really scrunched up, right? They can't absorb. There's not enough surface area to absorb force into the body to then use in movement. And if they're not getting that force, then it's coming from somewhere. You're still moving. It's coming from somewhere. So then everything you're doing is in compensation. Knees, hips, lower back, the most common areas. Knees, hips, lower back, neck and shoulders. Wow. Those common areas. And we just allow those areas to continually eat shit, basically. They're having to...
don't have a chance because the starting point is no bueno.
Exactly. So we just are going into our stride with half of what could be available.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So moral of the story, high heels are phenomenal for the feet.
High heels, yeah, they're rough. They're rough. And a lot of people expect me to be a big stickler of like, oh, what are you doing in those? What are those for? And I don't care at all. I'm the type of person that is like, hey, look, your decisions are your decisions. Be aware of what you're doing, the implications of them, how to get at the ins and out of it, and own it. And I want you to challenge me. I want you to prove this possible, but I want you to be able to back it up. Yeah. And yes, the high heel conversation is always a tough one. Try not to get into the biases of the world and ladies and their aesthetics.
Yeah.
'Cause that's a tough conversation.
Very tough.
And if we can't make our feet work for us, then they're accelerating our aging process, to put it bluntly. They're making us a lot older than we are. And it's okay. You can get away with it until you can't.
Yeah.
Eventually the levee breaks, and all of a sudden you have 17 different issues that you're getting treated from 17 different specialists, none of which can figure out what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, you're making me rethink some things here on the podcast. I'm wearing my Nikes. I'm like a 60, 70% barefoot kind of guy, you know?
That's
Vivo's pretty good.
That's great.
Yeah.
60, 70%, I'll move the needle. I tell people usually 80% is perfect.
That's perfect. Okay.
80% is perfect.
I could get to 80.
80's doable.
I have to get over my girl giving me a little shit, and
yeah,
that's okay.
You'll get some. You'll get a lot of shit. You'll get a lot from a lot of people.
We just got to find really cute, good-looking barefoot shoes.
Yeah.
Which honestly, more and more will be coming out.
Oh yeah.
Like my homie Jonah, he's tapped in with Nike. I think there might be a barefoot shoe coming out there.
It's getting popular. Getting popular. I'm really happy about that.
Yeah.
Really happy about that.
Let's make it the new norm.
It's getting popular. It's getting there. It's funny because I'm in my own bubble now, right? I work from home. I live in my little fortress. I basically live in my gym. So I'm only dealing with people that are pretty commonly associated with, oh, of course I'll wear barefoot shoes. And then I go out into the real world and it's like, wait a second, right? This is where we're at. The running shoes are, this thick. It got real popular last year or the year before, like those really big shoes, like almost clown style.
That's like the in look right now.
Yes.
Or like the New Balance ones, like the dad shoes that are back.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, we're really going the wrong way.
Yeah.
We're going the wrong way. And it's not even, I'm no genius, but when you think about a shoe and the way that it's shaped, think about a high heel. What makes it sexy is the pitch of our weight forward.
Yeah.
So, hey, wait a second. What if we just pitch our weight forward naturally?
You don't need the lift.
Wait a second. wait just a second. I'm no rocket scientist here, guys. But yeah, I get it. And then it just comes back around to just our contrived socioeconomic norms and wanting to be perceived as popular, likable. Which, how are you going to blame? I can't blame someone for that.
It's at the end of the day, it's wanting love, right? Wanting to be loved, wanting to fit in, be accepted. Which we all crave. That's what
we're here for.
Yeah.
That is very much, that's goes back to the reproduction part. That's the tribal DNA that runs through us.
Yeah.
And
because if you weren't liked back in the tribe and they left you,
you're gone.
Gonzos.
Exactly. So, the universal principle part, the reason that we're trying to get that downloaded into people's bodies is so that they can become their own source of safety, love, and survival. That's primary needs covered. If you can be your own source of that, it's extremely difficult to feel pressure from the outside world to make decisions. And that freedom is, you just watch the results basically pour in on top of that, from the physical body to a relationship to a career to watching people get over little things that, mental humps to hormone imbalances to emotional regulation. And then the crazy part is when I start to see people's belief system changes, like the root of who they are shifts. And that is a wild, like me, for example, not in my shoes anymore. Grade A example. That was a big moment for me to give up as I bench pressed twice a week for 11 years and was very proud of
how much were you benching, bro? What was the number?
The highest I ever benched was 365 for 2.
How much did you love telling people?
I loved it.
Yeah.
It was great. It was great. I squatted 550, 565 for like 6.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that was in high school.
You were a strong boy.
That was in high school. And so there was, that made my shoes, my strength, my scholarship, my sport. and being likable. I'm a charismatic person. I'm a likable person, and I just watched all of that die, all of it. And what's crazy is not the death of it, but the lack of caring. Where it's like, yeah, you're gonna think this way, and I'm not gonna be uncomfortable by your thinking this way. It doesn't faze me even a little bit. You don't have to try. You don't have to force it. It's just like, okay, that's where I'm at now.
It's powerful, bro.
Very
Powerful
powerful
frequency to be in.
Very powerful medicine.
Yeah.
It's got me into some rooms that are really special. It's allowed me to create a life where I wanted to bring kids into, which was a big deal for me, because I don't call me a skeptic, but I just the state that the world is in right now.
Yeah.
The state that the world is in right now is not what I would call a strong one.
Yeah.
So it's tough to make a world that you're actually proud of.
Yeah.
Right now.
It's funny you bring that up. I've talked about this a lot recently. I always challenge people. I've heard a lot of people who I love and respect and are awesome people say like, oh, I don't know if I want to bring a kid into this world right now. And I'm like, yo, we need you to bring kids into this world. Like, you'd be a fucking amazing parent. Like, we need amazing people to be parents to create that new generation of awesome humans. And I get it. I understand why people think that. Like, I get it, but
it's hard. So we are so far from having incentivized caring about self and through that to others that it doesn't make logical sense to split your attention further than it currently is split, because it feels impossible. And the idea of having a kid and then having it feel impossible to give that kid the attention and love that they should have makes it be like, okay, this is off the table. All right. And I agree. You do need the right people to be having children, but that's not what you see. You see a higher rate of birth in areas that are less conducive to easy child raising.
yes,
So
for sure.
you're not going to naturally consider the idea of making what is already difficult, more challenging.
Yeah.
And what it really is a reflection of is somebody's strength and not strength in the terms of like, I guess more so in the terms of durability than actual power, is you don't have the lasting power in who you are to be able to keep giving and retain that essence. And I watch that time. I think that time and time again is what we're running into, right? So let's use the example of politics, right? We have people that are effectively in charge of making decisions that affect a lot of other people, right? But now, like what we spoke about earlier, you have these people that truly have no idea who they are from the very jump. And for example, they're wearing these fancy shoes, probably $2,000 per pair, something like that, right? But what's going on their feet?
Yep.
How many messages is their brain not receiving? So they're literally making decisions from a standpoint of compensation and incompletion. And that's a big problem. That's a big problem. So you take that to same example in having kids. Most of us are far from an ideal version of ourselves. And as such, we're not going to feel very strong or durable or resilient in ourselves. And that makes the idea of having kids not the juiciest.
Yeah.
And that's
what you're looking at it from the movement lens.
Yeah. Tried to keep it relevant.
Yeah. I like it, bro. That's your zone of genius. So it makes sense.
Tried to keep it relevant here.
A few more questions I got for you. What do you think the biggest lie the fitness and rehab industries are telling people right now? from your perspective?
Like I told you, I don't get out enough to really be able to answer that well these days. The biggest lie, I would have to say that it's more of an overview. It's the idea that you need anything at all outside of your skin in order to accomplish what you want to in your health. I think that we all naturally look to buy whatever it is that we feel will give us the answers, when we know good and well that all of the answers that we need are already living inside of us, and we don't know how to cultivate it and bring it to the surface. So the biggest lie is that we need something else, something external, in order to support us in what we're trying to create out of our bodies, out of our lives.
And my last question I ask every guest on the show: if you could tell the younger version of yourself one thing in this moment, what would it be?
I would go back to 13 or 14 years old, so 20 years ago, when I first started really committing myself to a practice. And I would have told myself that it's okay to be your own source of love instead of trying to fit somebody else's. I would have been very clear with myself that it's okay to listen to yourself, and it's not mean or it's not wrong to allow other people to be disgruntled by the decisions that you make for yourself. Because that's where a lot of it came from. It's hard to call it issues because it led to something great, but a lot of things that I've dealt with, that I help people deal with on a day-to-day basis, just come from this area of living for anything other than who we are and what we are as an individual, instead of trying to do it for somebody else.
That's beautiful, man. I love that. I think the world would be a better place if everyone tapped into that, was their authentic self. We're us for a reason, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if I could do one thing, it would be that. But then I kind of feel wrong saying that, because it led to everything that we're talking about today.
Yeah. It was a part of your path for a reason.
It was part of the path, exactly. Yeah. And I laughed because when you're like, what would you tell someone that they could do now? And I said, commit harder, right? Yeah. Find rock bottom. That would have been the very second thing I said, because I wouldn't have listened. Back then, I couldn't listen. I wasn't open to being able to hear that.
You had to hit rock bottom.
Exactly. I would have said, brother, go faster, go harder to rock bottom. Yeah. Run it.
That's good advice, dude. Yeah. And the reason why I ask people that question is because maybe someone younger who's watching, maybe they take that and they're like, fuck, I do want to be a little more authentic. That's okay.
Tried to give both sides of it. If you're not going to do that, go harder at whatever you're doing.
Yeah. Hit that rock bottom, baby.
Dig it.
I love it. Well,
buddy.
Where can everyone find you? We'll tag some things in the show notes.
I would say number one area to get connected with me is Instagram. I spend most of my time on there. That's going to be at Conor Moves. Drew will put that right in the notes for you. If you're interested in getting to meet in person, I just put events and retreats on the map. Next one is in April in Texas at Kyle Kingsbury's farm.
Nice.
Little 5-day retreat action. And then if you're interested in learning in the program that Drew's taking on, that's going to be the all levels group curriculum. 6-month program takes you from the essential layer all the way into rotation, dynamic, explosive movement. Then it ends with a movement assessment where we can figure out what to do with you next.
I love it. Can't wait. Thank you so much for coming on the show, brother.
My pleasure, buddy. Thanks for having me.
Of course, bro.